everyday theme. Consistency in your routine is how you bring reality. Working like a slave, that's how I made this masterpiece. Living like a god, I lay at night, I rest in peace. Hosted by Alonzo Wright Bay, and a lot of us just talking about our journey into the study and the sciences and how we got up to this point. Another one of our sponsors is Sachi. Moorish drip inspired by the Renaissance period. Definitely welcome y'all to check out that page and see some of the dope clothing that my brother has created on there. If you're looking for a website, also go to ALO Design Pros. Get your web design, AI, any logo. I mean, we're definitely a one-stop shop with all that we do. Last but not least, we have also Mayat Sons. You like herbal teas to go with your books and literature. Get ready for this coming fall. And also we have MoorishHaberdasher.com. Any regalia, turbans, fezzes, kufis, suits, workout gear. We have definitely worth checking out that site. And last but not least is the music, sponsored by Brian Hicks Bay, BAHB Music. Check out his album, Transportation of Raw Materials. With all that being said, Sheet.
Peace.
You ready to start, man?
Yes, sir. Gratitude, Noble. Gratitude for that introduction. Peace, Noble Malik. Peace. How you doing, Noble?
I'm doing good. I just had a great workout with the tribe. It's all good.
Absolutely, man. We encourage everybody that's been following us. Definitely work out with us. Inbox us. As you see our little text going down at the bottom, you can contact us, man, to get with us. There's no excuse not to get your mind, body, and spirit right. I also have another donation platform where I'm using Venmo, and that'll be uploaded for tomorrow. If we get that, the broadcast on the bottom is our Temple and School page, Burning Bush Tabernacle, and then at BBT Science Temple. So if anybody want to donate to our Temple and School and join us, man. Before we get started, I've been getting a lot of emails for systematic classes. So I want to sit down with my tribe so we can put together lesson plans and people can go through them on their own. It'd be like maybe like a 2 or 3 week course, a crash course. We put it together with a syllabus. They go through it. You know what I mean? Make sure the answer's right. Then they go to the next level. That's another aspect of what I want to do with our teachers and with our school, to give people something to put in their hands, give them completion, let them have something that they can see who they are. But with that being said, Nobles, just gratitude for everyone. And today I've been on this astrological science for a long time. And I just want us to see the science and the alchemy and the astrology and everything when I deal with the universalness of the Koran, because I deal with the esoteric and the exo. And that's what we're going to be dealing with today. We're going to be dealing with a little bit of the esoteric Islam. And we're going to include a little bit of the interpretation of the Islamic traditions by use of the Hermetic, aka Kemetic arts of astrology and alchemy. Because the seeker of Kemetic, aka Hermetic wisdom, who follows the limitless path of light and whose spirit ignites the sparks of truth. That's what we here at the BBT, to investigate all the sciences, so we don't get caught up in one science where we miss the essence of the rest. And that's what I've been doing lately, showing my brothers and sisters this universal and this international science where we deal with alchemy and where we deal with the Kabbalah. As I start sending y'all the Zohar, I know Alonzo had been sending a lot of stuff showing how the Zohar pertains to basketball and pool, and I broke that down. And so now today, I'm going to break down a little bit of the esoteric of Islam, because here at BBT, we're Sufis, and the divine comes first. So I want to take y'all to another level of this science, to where a lot of, mortal men haven't, jumped on the spirit side yet, because I'm a spirit builder as well. They maybe not even thought about the third heaven. And so with me, I deal with things that synchronize. I deal with Kabbalah, I deal with alchemy, and I'm going to show you some of the Zohar teachings of the Quran. Islam?
Islam.
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 So just to give y'all a little preface, the history of man bears witness to the great struggle of discovering the right formula to conduct affairs in various aspects of our lives. Time and time again, men devise ideas of religious, political, and cultural nature that have continually brought solace from the enmity of senseless conflicts that afflicted their mode of existence, because man-made religion separates us. But the wisdom of the ancient is not actually based on absolute principles, rather than on the relative conditions proportional to the problems at hand. When I say we are philosophers, the nature of wisdom has never been to bind humans to a fixed legal structure. That's why in more science we say we don't gravitate to one science where we miss the essence of the rest, by restricting their movement at every level of growth. Here at the BBT Nobles, y'all know we don't restrict no one's growth. Your tassel is not pinned down. Your tassel is not pinned down. The BBT, the adapt chamber being a noble is the way you think. That's how I take people through the adapt chamber. When people are like, man, are you going to train me and are you going to initiate me? I say, yeah, through the wisdom, if you're willing to be a student. It's no phone call, I'm going to talk to you for 3 hours or 3 days and think you're going to get some wisdom like Lamarck or Malik have. That's not how this adapt chamber work. The adapt chamber is me teaching you the lessons. You asking the right questions. Just like if you was at my dojo, actually holistically, not just paper. You have to live it. You have to understand it. And you know when you're ready to go to the next level. Therefore, the laws serve best when they carry the wisdom of preventing the disastrous than dealing with them afterwards. And the wisdom serves best when it abides by the principles of redemption and growth. That's what we do here. We're resurrecting. We're growing. True wisdom forms the very essence of all the magical ideas that have transferred man's primeval existence into a responsible creature capable of serving the divine plan. That's the true aspect of alchemy when we're dealing with it in this metaphysical aspect. And the path of growth had never been easy because the ideas of wisdom always requires sacrifice of the ego and vanity in order to counter the challenges possessed by human mind to accept the necessary changes. That's why a lot of men don't make it, because you have to destroy the lower self. You have to destroy the ego. You have to. And when man honors man, we honor Allah. This is just not for every mortal man. This is for the extraterrestrial man that have God in their heart. And eventually wisdom represents the agency responsible for the unfoldment of the human potential to embody the divine archetype. We got to remember that man in our consciousness carries the weight of eternity that ever haunts us in the form of consciousness, because we conscious. So the great ideal of wisdom were incorporated into the mystery teachings of the ancient Egyptians in the form of Kemetism. A lot of times they connotate it and they call it Hermetic. That is why the Kemetic, aka the Hermetic ideas, outline the tenets of all major philosophies in the world that include objectively, especially when I break down the Zohar, and resolution in the exercise of the traditions. That's why the Quran, I don't care if you spell it with a Q or a K, is considered as the book of divine guidance by Al-Islam Muslims, whose main subject constitutes man. From a Kemetic standpoint, aka Hermetic standpoint, the Quran and the Quranic mysteries carry a great deal of connection to the Kemetic arts of astrology and alchemy. And I'm going to show y'all and just give a little example of the symbolism of the Kemetic, aka Hermetic precepts that are used to divine the notions of the highest aspirations in man's ethical behavior by the Islamic traditions. And so, as I give you a little crash course, the esoteric Islam includes the interpretation of Islamic traditions by the use of Kemetic arts, astrology, and alchemy. It discusses the mystical teachings of the Quran from the standpoint of ancient mysteries and modern metaphysics, in an attempt to understand the message of the Quran in its structural design. Remember, everything is built with a structure. I'm about to walk you to an introduction of this. So when you look at these mystery letters of the Quran, it's called the Huf al-Qatat, or the Huruf al, or the El Muqatada. HUROOFALMUQATTAAT. So, in the Quran 96:1, read in the name of your Lord who has created. So, I'm going to give a little investigation into the mystery letters of the Quran called the Huruf al-Muqaddah. Here is the Hermetic, aka Kemetic arts of astrology, alchemy, and symbolism. They're all employed to decipher. Remember, everything is a cipher. That's what brothers, when they just get caught up in the outside meaning, they're not connected. They're not close associates. They're not even dealing with the alchemy aspect. We're not even dealing with the esoteric meaning. And that's what I'm showing you today. Universal. And you got to deal with the cipher, their meanings, just like etymology and potential significance for the human spiritual growth. The extraordinary perfection in the design of the universe is flabbergasted the human intelligence. Since the immemorial, you got to understand the complexity of living organisms in nature. Yes, sir.
Can we break down like etymology for those people who really don't understand how elementary it is?
Yes, go ahead.
Because etymology, there's only really one time throughout your course of education, a period of time, I should say, that you they actually go over it in depth, and it's really K through 12 because that's really where you only have the spelling bee. And when you have the spelling bees is what breaks down the etymology of words. So those people who've been in spelling bees in elementary, they can really understand language and linguistics and break it down because they understand the etymological breakdown of words.
Absolutely.
And we have to understand the etymological breakdown of words so we don't get caught in an emotional state on how we feel things mean. We actually can prove what things mean based on etymology.
Absolutely.
Not our feeling.
Noble, it couldn't been said better. Just like when I showed the film with the little European Albion, the trailer dyke boy, and they had him spell Nagas. And he's like, well, put it in a sentence. Give me the root of the word. And they told him it was the ancient people from the continent of Africa, Ethiopia, that's royal. He's like, give me the root of the word. Give me the etymology. And so he knew what Nigga, he knew it was Nagas. Nages or Negus. I forget how he spelled. I think it was Nagas.
Nagus.
Yes.
Yes. Naga.
Yes. Yeah. So he got the etymology, the root of the word. Absolutely, Noble Malik. And that's elementary. And that's how a lot of our brothers and sisters get caught up because we don't do the research of how was the word written, when was the word written, and what did it mean when it was written. That's why I said we can't arbitrarily explain things to make it fit for us. And we have to get out of our emotion, especially when we're dealing with law. When everybody say, I'm down with reparations, but reparations is wrapped up in law. So if you're not willing to deal with law from no arbitrary perspective, you can't have a conversation with Malik because you're going to be emotional. You're going to be emotional. And we don't deal with emotion. We deal with facts. Islam, Noble, very well said. Very well said.
And a lot of writings is actually written in allegory and parable. So if you don't know what things mean, you get caught up and tricked.
Yes.
I feel it.
And especially when it deals with law, especially when dealing with indigenous people law and policy, especially when it started dealing with the 13th, the 14th, the 15th Amendment. But our people so emotional, they operate on feelings, just like when they vote. They operate on feelings, not law and policy. They operate on DEI, this Democrat ethical inclusion, not based on who's the best person. Because I showed y'all the film. I sent y'all the film of Donald Trump when Jesse Jackson was running for president and Donald Trump was his bigger supporter. Did y'all watch that?
Yep.
And y'all saw that. So you got to see, when did it change? Because at one point, they all love Donald Trump. Donald Trump springboarded Jesse Jackson's political campaign. And they know it. And I know it. A lot of this stuff be a joke.
And you got to understand why.
Yes. You have to understand language. You have to understand everything. You have to understand what we be saying about civics and law. I'm down with reparations, but a slave that's been born in the United States is never going to get nothing. Only the master. These is facts.
I self-law and master.
Yep.
You better catch on.
Yep. And when we say we white by law, we didn't say we know European. We say we white by law. What's our nationality? Moorish American. What's our race? We agree with Asiatic. What's our status? Free white.
Yeah.
If you don't understand that, well, a lot of our brothers and sisters are lost due to a lack of knowledge. And we operate on feelings. We operate on feelings. Any elder, any college professor promulgating that black stuff out of Africa and you black, that's To me, that's just an agent. That's COINTELPRO, because you should know better, especially if you a teacher, especially if you know language. You know black is silver mortis. According to science and law, is black deaf in the eyes of the law? Yes. Well, why would I identify as Negro, black, and color, or African American, something that's synonymous to slave? Why? You can't even answer that with a straight question. You say
I feel I am.
yes, and we got our own brothers that push that agenda, that straight out of Africa stuff with that old science. I said, man, black is beautiful, but it's not a nationality. Let's deal with law. Let's deal with science. Let's deal with Declaration of Human Rights. Let's deal with international law. Let's deal with the rights of the indigenous people. Let's deal with the SF 181 forum. Let's deal with the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, from no biasness. Let's deal with the 13th, the 14th, the 15th Amendment. Let's deal with manumissions. Let's deal with the Reconstruction Law. And then we can have a serious question. But until our brothers and sisters are willing to sit down and have a real conversation with somebody that can help us identify to who we are, we're going to always be subjected to slavery. Always, because we can't agree under one nation name. We're not stripping our culture. We are a national name, and the work has been done. And we have to walk out the house in synchronicity. That's what this is about. That's what we teach here at the BBT. We're not teaching we can't convert you. It ain't nothing to convert you to. We ain't converted. We under the triple rose.
We don't teach hate.
Yes, and we definitely don't teach hate. You see me, I'm a sheik. I go in all spiritual houses as an adapt, as a God man. I must. Why? Because that's where my people at. I'm going into the churches. I'm going to the synagogues. I'm going to the mosques. I'm going to the parks, the churches, the prisons. Why? Because I'm a God man, and I adapt to my people, and I use all holy books. We ain't letting nobody separate us no more. I'm not. Man-made religion separate us. The Bible and the Koran synchronize. We here to be a clear message. We under the triple rose, and we're gonna break everything down to show you that anything outside yourself is true shirk. We not no hate group. Not at the BBT. We don't rock like that. But you got to understand that we under intelligence here at the BBT, and us as adapts throughout the ages. All my muftis are adapts, nobles. We use encoded symbolism and hieroglyphics in our communication to transmit the insight to posterity in order to guard them from self-destruction, human behaviors. It was only for the elite, for the Jacobites, to have this wisdom. It ain't for everybody to understand how to read Kabbalistically. It ain't for everybody to understand the signs and symbols. It ain't for everybody to know how to read the Met to Nether the right way once you got the alphabet to be a decipher. It ain't for everybody to know how to do gematria. It ain't, and get it right. It's for the right ones to get it right, you know? It's for those that get it right. That's what we're here to do. I'm not here to arbitrarily explain and try to convert you to something. That ain't what more science consists of. I'm all the holy books. I had a goofy more, oh, you think you Dr. York? I said, no, you think I'm Dr. York. Or you think you Elijah Muhammad? No, you think I'm that. Or you think it is? No, you think I'm that. Because I know I'm all that. I'm all that in one. I'm in the flesh. Yes, I'm an educator. Yes, I'm a scholar. And that's the problem with us. We think it's only going to be a Michael Jordan or a LeBron James for every dispensation, Noble Malik, but we don't show the diversity of who we are as scholars and educators and leaders and businessmen. This ain't no fake social media. This ain't no fake pay for your leisure. This is real. I'm in Vegas right now. Just like when people be popping up on my page. Yeah. I say, man, like last week in the DAP class, the Noble, no, I forget what class it was. I think I was just speaking. And I said, I'm going to be in Vegas. He was like, well, anybody in Vegas? I said, I'll be in Vegas Friday. Friday, I'll be in Vegas. I'm here. That's why I be telling men they don't be serious what we doing. And it's others that be serious with this science. It be others that have me come travel and teach. We use this internet and we can meet up. It's too many of us to be lost. It's too many more think somebody gonna nationalize them and denationalize them, acting as some sovereign citizens. Talk about they're gonna expatriate from this de facto government, and then you stateless. Don't understand that you are humans, that you are an American, and we lost. And all these Moors operate as al-Islam Muslims. No, I don't have a problem with you, but that's not Moor science. It can be. We don't operate with nothing outside ourselves. But like the ancient texts that were meant to guide you and to guide humanity, brothers and sisters, the Quran seems to be a book designed for the specific purpose of raising consciousness in human beings. It's definite evidence of the esoteric teachings in the terms of the Quran. And I'm just going to give a little crash course of the esoteric teachings, because a real Sufi, a real Sheikh is going to teach his brothers and sisters, Noble Malik, the esoteric and the exoteric. We're going to teach the eso and the exo. That's what we do at the BBT. We're going to teach gematria. We're going to teach the Gnostic scriptures. We're going to teach everything I'm going to teach the Kabbalah. I'm going to teach you Zohar. I'm going to teach you how to read Kabbalistically, everything. I'm going to teach you math, reading, arithmetic. I'm going to teach you finances. I'm going to teach you language. Why? Because this is the clock of destiny. This is a real education. This is a real cipher. This is a real think tank. And once we get the right brothers and sisters, we're going to take over. An example of such text is the mystery abbreviated letters of the Quran. Now, you know it's abbreviated letters of the Quran, properly known as the Huruf al-Qutat or the Quratat. H-U-R-O-O-F. I might be pronouncing this a little bit wrong. A-L-M-U-Q-A-T-T-A-T. Therefore, in this little demonstration, we're going to show you some of the meanings of the context of the Quranic teachings. Now, y'all got the literature, the mysterious abbreviation letters. Can you put those letters up there? Noble? Yep, you can scroll up a little bit. Just like the Alf. Yep, keep page up a little bit. Yep, you could, yep, keep going up, keep going up. The next page, pass, yep, pass that. Yep, right there, right there. So you see the abbreviated letters, the Quranic order of the mystery letters. Aries, Taurus, you see it, 3, 6, 9. You see what? The so-called 12 disciples. The 12 astrological signs of your brain. Just like I broke down yesterday in the clock of destiny with the sun in the middle, or Muhammad in the middle, with all the astrological signs in it. I've been breaking this down to show y'all this science all through. Just like on the C. Freeman L chart. I've been showing y'all this, walking you through this. I've been teaching you. I've been taking my teeth out. We've been getting on Similac per se. So this should be very simple for you to catch this universal science. Only a God man does it like this. How? Lead the way for a child can understand it. Thank for the donation, Noble. One of my nobles said,
well, she got me in funny. We get on the nipple. We don't get on the Similac. Them other people be on that Similac.
Yeah. My internet's just tripping on my YouTube. But the mysterious letters of the Arabic alphabets mentioned in the table that y'all shown and through, they do not appear in alphabetical order. They don't appear in alphabetical order, y'all, in the Quran. But they are actually stated as prefixes to certain chapters of the book. And throughout the Muslim history, there have been theories proposed to justify their existence in the Quran. A few have suggested that they were initials of the scribes who had written them down to dictations of those chapters, while others commented on them to be some of a special mystical significance, which is known only to God himself. The letters appear in the Quran successively in order and fashion. And that's why I tell people you got to know how to read instead of getting caught up in some man-made stuff and understand the analogy, the parable, and the symbology in the Quran or the etymology in these ancient teachings and these glyphs and these netters. So you got the Alf, Lam, Mem, chapter 2, 3, 29, 30, 31, and 32. I'm not going to break each one of those chapters and what they down. I'm going to go through it because I'm going to teach it later. But it's a system. I told y'all, everything in Islamic teachings and in the Bible is a system. Just like how I break the Bible and the Quran down and to show you how law governs all events. And I can break down all facets of law, local, state, federal, criminal. How? In the Bible, marine time, through the Bible and to the Quran, to show you that synchronicity. So certain surahs have certain initial prefixes to them, which are called abbreviated letters. A number of conjunctures have been made as to their meaning. Opinions are divided as to the exact meaning of each particular letter or combination of letters. And it's agreed that only Allah knows their true exact meaning. Well, if Allah only knows their true exact meaning, that's a God man standing up straight up, arm, leg, arm, head. So we know this. If man was made in the image of Allah, we can decipher everything. That's why I say it ain't just God, it's the God man. Because man was made in the image of Allah. And the word was made flesh. So nothing's a mystery to us anymore. It's nothing a mystery. It just takes someone to decipher it. And the presence is not inconsistent with the character of the Quran as a plain knowledge book. The book of nature is also a plain book, but how few can fully understand it. Everyone can get out of the Quran's plain guidance for his life, which is the exoteric meaning. But what about the eso? According to his capacity for spiritual understanding, because if you're not on a high level of spiritual understanding, you can't get high levels of spirituality understanding out of these texts like we do. When you eliminate all biasness, and you can go in all religious houses because we're using the same books. As his capacity grows, as your capacity grows, so will your understanding grow. and the whole book is recorded for all time. It must necessarily contain truth that only gradually unfold themselves to humanity. It must gradually unfold as you have a good mapping guide, as you go through the ranks. Just like if you're going through martial arts, just like if you're going through the ranks of academia. Same thing. When you're dealing with me as your mapping guide, you're going through the ranks of learning, your mental progress. Just like I'm giving you all the keys to success to make you a high graduate, to make you a master teacher. For you to understand, that's what I do at the BBT. And when we have our systematic classes, history, law, and civics and finances, to build yourself up. Because there's no trickery with what I teach. You're not going to wake up magically and be successful. It's not going to happen. It's going to take some work. And there are 29 chapters of the Koran. And then when I tell people, the Quran speak of Jesus, Yahshua, damn more than it does of Allah. In your Quran, ask your phone how many times does the Quran speaks of Jesus. I think it speaks to Jesus, man. I can't even count on my hand. I can't even count. But it's 29 chapters of the Quran that mention the abbreviated prefixes. And the 14 letters of the 28 alphabet of the Arabic language, nobles, are used in different combinations in those prefixes, among which two pairs are homophonic, different glyphs with the same sound. Remember that, different glyphs with the same sound. I'm giving you etymology, making them that makes them like the same. It makes them 12 sound characters in total because of the homophonic pairs of letters. It acts as one character, so it combines something to one character. I proposed in the ensuing discussion that the 12 characters appear in a definite order in the Quran, which corresponds to, guess what? The 12 astrological signs. The 12 astrological signs. Peace, noble. The 12 astrological signs. And such the features of the prefix signatures as astrological signs form the subject of this dissertation. So, in other words, these abbreviated prefixes summarize the chapters themselves, and letters in the order of the appearance in the Quran. It represents the 12 astrological signs, nobles. These letters are indicated in the attached table alongside their corresponding sign. So the first letter you see is the Elf, is Aries. We broke this down in Clock of Destiny, but we're going to break it down a little bit more to show you the science in the Quran, the alchemy, the Kemetic, the Kabbalah. I'm showing you this in the Quran. I'm showing you the Kemetic teachings, a lot of times connotated as Hermetic teachings in the Quran. Y'all still with me? Y'all still with me, nobles? Okay.
Absolutely.
Very simple. It's not going to take long. I'll see if I'll be able to get through all the 12 astrological signs. The Elf appears as a prefix in the beginning of the second chapter of the Quran, and therefore it's the first letter of the Quranic sequence. Astrologically, it refers to the signs of Aries, as it signifies the subject of warfare in the Quran. Also, the fighting of wars was proclaimed for the first time in the chapter of the Quran, which is akin to the archetype of the sign of Aries. The Quran says, and I quote, "Warfare is ordained for you, though it is hateful unto you, but it may happen that ye hate a thing which is good for you." Just like some people say they hate working out, but it's good for you. Some people say they hate asparagus and all that, but it's good for you. And it may happen that you love a thing which is bad for you. You can love a thing that's bad for you as well. See the science in this. Allah knows, ye know not. Ayat 2, verse 216. A scholar of the Quran, one of the scholars, Quranic scholars that I love to study, and I study myself, Muhammad Marduk Pickthall. He written the following in a commentary on the chapter. All suggestions to the contrary notwithstanding, it seems probable that the whole of this surah was revealed during the first 4 years after the Hijrah, and that by far the greater portion of it was revealed into the first 18 months of the Prophet's reign at Al-Maninas, that is to say, before the Battle of Badr. And this is what he says: the possible necessity of fighting had been foreseen in the terms of the oath taken at Al-Quba by the Muslims of Yathrib before the fight, when people take oath to defend the Prophet as they would their own wives and children. And the first commandment to fight was revealed to the Prophet before his flight from Mecca. But there was no actual fighting by the Muslims until the Battle of Badr. Many of them were reluctant.